What is going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football, alongside of Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk, bringing you guys the first, I think you can say, first 2014 Red Zone Blitz, because we previously left off after the NFL draft. So we're gearing up for the 2014 season, but without further ado, it's my partner in crime, Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk. What's going on, Ezra?
Crime? Why? Because I'm Spanish? What is it? What kind of was that necessary, Dave?
I'm round two. So.
But it feels good to be back. We had our little off season this summer. You know, we enjoy our summer, man. So it's time to be back. And a lot of football to talk about. Who did you cheer for in the World Cup?
Oh, me? Since I was young, I was a Brazilian fan, even though I'm not Brazilian, but that's who I rooted for. And they got waxed by Germany 7-0. But
that wasn't a serious question. I do not care about soccer at all. I did watch a few games, and I do love Brazilian women. But I do love Argentinian women. I do love German women. I love every country's women. So either way, I don't care for World Cup. But I do have a piece of advice. I wrote it on my Facebook for my personal friends. And since we're in the Red Zone Blitz, and you guys are my friends, financial tip of the day. Do not watch Lucy, the movie, starring Scarlett Johansson. It was a terrible movie. Just FYI. Just wanted to give you guys that information. Now let's get on with the NFL.
Lots of summer activities that, we have gone through. Still, we got about a month left of summer in August, and we're leading up. I think, next week is going to be the first game of preseason, the Hall of Fame game. So we've got some football starting up really, really soon. Training camp is underway for, I believe, most teams, or not, if not all teams. And before we dive into the AFC East, let's talk about the Ray Rice suspension real quick. This is just the most recent, biggest, largest NFL news in the last couple of days. Ray Rice gets suspended for the first 2 games of the season because he hit his wife, he beat his wife, whatever, knocked her unconscious at a, was it a Las Vegas casino in an elevator?
Atlantic City. 3 hours from me. I go there. I lost $300 last month over there.
Boy, it is. He knocks his wife out cold. The video camera, I think everyone has seen it by now. The video camera catches him pulling and dragging his wife out of the elevator unconscious. Roger Goodell slaps him with a 2-game suspension. Ezra, was he, how do you say it? Was it enough of a suspension for Ray Rice, or do you think he deserved more?
I understand. No, I don't understand why Roger Goodell only gave him 2 games. I was going to say, I understand the rebuttal saying, he's been a model citizen since he's been in the NFL. He's never gotten in trouble and such, and people are comparing it to, let's say, the Josh Gordon situation. He got suspended a whole year for smoking marijuana. Well, Josh Gordon's been caught several times smoking marijuana and other infractions. Same with Justin Blackmon, who just got caught with a DWI the other day, and his football career is in danger big time. But 2 games, like they said, if you're trying to protect the image, what about the ladies that watch the NFL? And there's plenty of NFL fans, and I think you have a partner in SB Nation. Was it Philadelphia? What's her name?
Philadelphia is her channel, yeah.
There's Christina from she's another channel here on YouTube who represents her Broncos. There's a lot of females that love the NFL and root for their teams. And, you see some of these suspensions for these other things, and they're more than this. I'm not comparing the 2 because it's really, like I said, but I want to compare it to, how about fights on the field? Is it more than usually 2 games? When you touch a ref, is that more than 2 games? Not even hitting a ref, pushing a ref, bumping into a ref. That's an automatic game. But the evidence, the NFL has, they've seen the tape inside the elevator. There's been stated plenty of times by ESPN and other sources that Ray Rice was seen hitting his wife, his fiancée. I've never seen her, so I don't know. But there's been plenty of times that he did strike her, and that was the result, that she was unconscious. Why only 2 games? Where if anything else, like I said, you bump a ref, that's an automatic game. It just sends a bad message, and I understand the uproar about it, and I understand the other token about he's been a model citizen and it shouldn't be that bad and blah, 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 but it's a bad message. And if you're asking me, man, if I saw that tape, I'll be hard-pressed not to give him at under 8 games. Easy. You know, if I'm the commissioner and I watch that tape, him hitting a woman, I'll be hard-pressed.
Yeah, and nobody really promotes the hitting of women. There's a very small majority of people, and those majority of people deserve to be punished for what they do. Ray Rice getting suspended 2 games, it's a suspension nonetheless. It's a punishment nonetheless. I think he's being fined for 3 games, but suspended for 2. But I think 4, at least 4, should have been applied to Ray Rice. I think 2 was a little light. But again, I mean, this is something that nobody else really knows about besides Ray Rice and his wife, why they got in a conflict, why he did what he did. It's between those 2 people. And I'm not reinforcing or backing up what Ray Rice did, but it was a personal matter and it was a personal issue that came out into the public's view because of a camera catching him pulling her out of an elevator. So that was that was their battle that they kind of had to go through and deal with on their own. They're still together. Weren't they engaged at the time and then they got married later on?
Yes.
I don't know. Something like that.
That was his fiance at the moment, and now they're currently married. And I heard that his wife went into meetings with Roger Goodell, pleaded for her now husband. I understand all that, but like Roger Goodell's always talking about sending a message. You got to protect the shield and all this crap that he spills out there to the public. You got to suspend him a little bit more than that. You got to send a message to your ladies too, because the ladies are also part of your fan base. You all right, David?
Yeah, sorry. I had to do something really quickly. No, yeah, and I totally agree. And the thing is, the era that we're in now, with Roger Goodell trying to expand the NFL to Europe and London and to other countries, maybe Mexico, Canada, whatever. He's trying to not only expand, but he's trying to bring in and gather more women and attract more women to the sport, because we all know that it's predominantly followed by males. So if you're trying to bring in a different demographic, then suspending Ray Rice for 2 games wasn't a very hefty suspension, and didn't probably send a very good message to the females out there, which kind of tells me that he didn't really think about it like that, and he didn't really consider it in that way. So I think there might have been some other things that played into the decision of 2 games. Maybe she did something that was ridiculous, and Ray Rice just, I don't know, snapped. And she went and pleaded to Roger Goodell, maybe explained him the story, and he only gave him 2 games. I don't know. We don't know what happened. It's a personal issue between those 2 people, and Ray Rice was suspended for 2 games. There's going to be a couple of guys who have to step up now at the running back position for them. I think like a Bernard Pierce, but I think the Ravens should be fine. That's a division that gets usually, a division winner that runs around a 9-7, 10-6 record. The Ravens should be fine without Ray Rice for 2 games. Plus, when you talk about durability at the running back position, he'll have fresh legs coming into the 3rd week of the season. So that's how I feel about it. We here at the Red Zone Blitz do not promote.
I just want to give something real quick. I'm trying to Google fights suspensions. I'm not really pulling up much, but I just saw something for Antonio Smith and Rich Cognito from last year, and there was during the play, I think Smith grabbed Rich Cognito's helmet real quick and hit him with it, and he was suspended for 2 games. Rich Cognito was not unconscious; he was still standing, and it seemed like more of a reaction thing than more of a fight thing. Even though he probably was a lot of intention to hit him with the helmet, but it seemed like more a reaction, and that also got 2 games. This guy Antonio Smith doesn't have a big background of violence in his history or anything of violations of the NFL, and Ray Rice knocked his fiance out. So I don't know. I want to see more of fight suspensions than give more of an opinion on this. But like I said, like you said, drug automatic 4 games. It's not. It doesn't even have to be a PED. It's automatic 4 games. So I can understand the uproar.
Yeah, no, I think, and like I said earlier, I think the suspension for Ray Rice is too light. But what can you do? I mean, that's what Roger Goodell decided to do. 2 games. That's the suspension. Let's move on. So that's the decision that we're down to, and that's why we're debating and talking about it. Before we get to the AFC East.
But people are right. People in the comment box, Ray Rice, Roger Goodell deserves the boot, okay? And you know what else? Besides the boot, they deserve some J's, okay?
Oh.
They deserve some J's, some Converse. Matter of fact, since Comic-Con was the other day, I got the Batman Converse. They deserve all these, all right? Get the hell out of here, Roger Goodell. And where's the suspension for John Irsay, huh? Where's the suspension at? You know, here's Superman. You deserve a Superman Converse up your ass also. Ray Rice and Roger Goodell, both of them.
And that's why the Red Zone Blitz is the Red Zone Blitz. Thank you, Ezra, for being Ezra. Now let's get to the AFC East. What team you want to start out with? We got 4 teams we're going to talk about. We got the Jets, we got the Patriots, the Bills, the Dolphins. Do we want to save the Jets for last?
We can talk about we can talk about the division winners first if you want.
The division winners for who?
Oh, you don't have the Jets as your division winners? What do you mean you don't? That's what you're telling me.
So it looks like Ezra's prediction to win the 2014
No, that's not my
AFC division.
Okay, I know it's called Idiot Sports Talk, but let's be serious. You know, there's a lot of question marks about my Jets, but we don't have to start with them first.
Let's start with the Bills.
The Bills.
That's all. Hey, when was the last time the Bills made the playoffs? When was the last time the Bills were talked about first for anything? Let's talk about the Bills first, because you know what?
Who's going to Toronto? The Bills will come up first.
That's scary. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you're thinking, what is Bon Jovi trying to buy the team right now in Buffalo?
Him and his partners are trying to buy the team and move them to Toronto. You know you can forget about LA. I hear Toronto is their destination, and you know that sucks for Buffalo Bills fans, man, because there's such a loyalty up there, up north, and it just sucks. It's like with the NBA, with the Seattle SuperSonics, that team, that city, loved their team, great support, and Buffalo. There's nothing in Buffalo, okay? This is what they have, and you want to take this away from them? I hope a team or somebody walks in, buys this team, and keeps it there. I hope it doesn't. For those fans, I really, truly hope it doesn't happen.
And no one wants to see their team get up and leave their city. Nobody, because it's just ingrained in the culture. It's something that you go to. Everyone is, they come together. I hear Buffalo's very similar to Green Bay with how they do their tailgating, things like that. Even though they're not a very successful franchise in the last 15, 20 years, whatever, they still have a really great fan base. So for them to get up and move to Canada, the positive for the NFL would be they just gathered a whole bunch of Canadian NFL fans, and now they're fans of the Toronto Bills or the Toronto whoever it's going to be. So it's a plus for the NFL that they end up, I believe, gathering more of a following from Canadian people. And it's a negative for people who live in and around Buffalo who are so used to going to the games during the NFL season. But for all those Buffalo fans, if the team does get up and move, I would still assume that that's the team they would follow. So, talking about the Buffalo Bills,
they don't want to hear that crap, but go ahead.
They don't, but I mean, I think that's the way the NFL would see it, and they would support Bon Jovi if he decided to move the team to Toronto. Now, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Let's recap their 2014 NFL draft picks. In the first round, they trade up for Sammy Watkins at wide receiver out of Clemson. In the second round, they draft Cyrus Kwanjo, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. let me take a look, because ESPN isn't very good with the position rankings, and I have everything written down here. Third round, Preston Brown, the inside linebacker. Ross Cockrell, the cornerback, in the fourth round. Fifth round was Sorrell Richardson. Now, the offensive guard out of Baylor and Richardson, a guy who was talked about who could go in the first, second, or third round, fell to the fifth because of weight issues, because of the numbers he put up at the combine weren't very good. He fell to the fifth round. And they also take a guy in the seventh round who is being talked about as an early round draft selection in Centrell Henderson. So they really buffed up the offensive line. These are guys who were talked about as top first, second, and third round picks. They fell to the second, fifth, and seventh. This is boom or bust on the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills in Quanjo, Richardson, and Henderson. So, I like what they did. I wasn't sure if they made the right move in trading up for Sammy Watkins, but nonetheless, they have a weapon there. And if you take a look at their depth chart, this is something that everyone really needs to pay attention to. Take a listen to the receivers that they have right now. They have Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, Mike Williams, and Marquise Goodwin. Those are four solid receivers in my opinion. They just need somebody to get them the ball. Hopefully E.J. Manuel steps up for them. What are some of your early thoughts on the Bills right now, Ezra?
Their offseason, if you look at it, they really focused their energy on the offensive side of the ball and helping E.J. Manuel grow as a quarterback. Like you said, improve the offensive line, get him a revamped, upgraded wide receiving core. They even added a third running back in Bryce Brown, who's a talented guy from Philadelphia. They're really concentrating their energy on the offensive side of the ball, and you really can't blame them. They were ranked, let me check right here. Overall, in total offense, they were ranked 19th. In pass, that means they were 28th. They were 28th in the league in the pass at 93 yards per game. So that's what they really focused their energy. And, I really like it. The defensive side of the ball, not so much. They had a good defense. Especially with takeaways. They were second with 23 interceptions and second in sacks with 57. I didn't know they were that dangerous when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. But they took a hit because they lost Kiko for the year and Bird as a free agent. I'm not saying their defense is going to take that much of a hit in those two aspects, but it is going to be a drop-off.
Oh, yeah, and without a doubt, I think when you draft Kiko Alonso in the second round last year out of Oregon, you really expect him to be that, that cornerstone piece, the middle of the defense. They wanted to kick him to outside linebacker. I believe it was weak side linebacker, and then he tears his ACL. This is a guy who put up amazing statistics. No offense to your Sheldon Richardson, Ezra, but I really felt as if he should have been the defensive rookie of the year last year. They found a gem.
You're disrespecting my boy.
That's fine. And Sheldon had a great season, but I really feel that Kiko Alonso had a better season at inside linebacker. The point is this. They lose him to a torn ACL. He's not going to be there. I think they're going to try and maybe get Nigel Bradham in there, Keith Rivers at strong side. But like you were saying, they also lose Jarius Byrd in free agency to the New Orleans Saints. This is a team that has pieces on their defensive unit. They can still get it done. Jerry Hughes, a guy who was really not talked about a lot last year, had double-digit sacks, going to be playing defensive end alongside of Marcel Darius, who has been in trouble this offseason. Who I don't know if he's going to be facing a suspension or not. Kyle Williams and Mario Williams. The defensive line, I think, for the most part, is solid. They also have Alan Branch to back up at defensive tackle if Marcel Darius does get suspended. The point is this. I think their linebacking core is slightly weak. I think their secondary is decent but not great. You have Leotis McKelvin, you have Stephon Gilmore, but up front they're solid. If they can work on coming together as a unit, especially when it comes to pass coverage, I think this defense can potentially be another top 10 defense like they were last year, but they're going to have to do it without Kiko and Jarius Byrd.
They were actually it's predicated on the pressure, but they were actually fourth ranked against the pass. But like you said, it wasn't really their secondary that deserved most of that credit. It was their front. But their linebacking core, especially with Kiko out, their rush defense is still going to be trash. They were 28th in the league last year against the rush. I know Spikes improves that. He improves that mightily, but without Kiko, that defense takes a hit on nickel packages because, Spikes can't run backwards. He can't go backwards. He can only go forward, and that's against the run. So he's going to help against the run, but when it gets against the pass, it's a give and take there. They're really going to miss Kiko a lot this year.
We want to talk about a little bit of trash talk in the AFC East since we're in this division right now. Brandon Spikes, as soon as he signs with the Buffalo Bills, there was a lot of trash talk on Twitter between him and Patriots fans. So watch out for those two games, especially for the game in New England. Brandon Spikes, he's saying that this team is going to be something, and a lot of times when players say that, they're usually they don't do very well. So, and we are talking about the Buffalo Bills.
I'm going to go a stretch here. I know we're going to talk about the rest of the teams in a few. The Bills might be my X factor for this division.
Like a wild card X factor?
Like they're going to be competing for a playoff spot. Like I'm just saying, I think they have the potential. I'm not saying they are. I just like the moves they made for the offensive side of the ball, and their defense. Like I said, they make plays, they make stuff happen, and if they can continue that this year with the sacks and the interceptions, which I know is going to be tough without Bird and Kiko, I think this team could be dangerous. But all predicated on E.J. Manuel growing with this new wide receiver core, and chemistry is another issue.
No, I'm not going to beat you down for saying that because you have to wait till we get to the AFC West because you're going to think I'm crazy. But the Bills are definitely a team offensively. Let me take a look at their depth chart real quick. Like I mentioned, their receivers, solid, fine. Don't touch them. They're great. You bring in Sammy Watkins, he even further improves that. Their offensive line as a whole, I think, could be a solid unit. The running backs and C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson, solid. Playmakers. As long as Fred Jackson can stay healthy, you'll have a nice 1-2 punch there. Now, their question marks, I think, is going to be along the lines of tight end and quarterback. E.J. Manuel, like you said, needs to see where he can progresses, and if he does progress, maybe that team can start producing more points on offense. And then at tight end, I still don't think they found a very good weapon. And Scott Chandler and Tony Moyaki. Moyaki's always a guy who's been hurt. Chris Gregg was a guy that they drafted last year who didn't really produce much. So,
but I think it all depends on the system. They use their tight ends mostly for their running, and they were second in the league last year. And maybe you want C.J. Spiller to be more of a weapon in the passing game because he has that potential to fill that void if you want to mismatch against the linebacker and stuff like that. I don't think it doesn't bother me so much that they don't have a weapon at tight end. I think it's a little overrated. It's great when you have it. When you have the Jimmy Grahams, the Vernon Davises, the Thomases out there. I understand that's a great mismatch, but it all depends on the scheme of your team, and I think it's overrated that you need it. I don't think you need it in the NFL.
I think you're going to start needing it more as every year goes on with how much these wide receivers are starting to look more like, these tight ends are starting to look so much more like wide receivers. And when you start spreading defenses out, you're going to need to start drafting more corners and safeties, even linebackers who can convert to safety and vice versa, because this league, I think, is going to turn more into a passing league the further we go more down the line here. When you draft Sammy Watkins, here's another thing. When you draft Sammy Watkins, defensive coordinators are going to be concentrating on how they're going to cover this guy. Are we going to single cover him? Are we going to double cover him? If we double cover him, who's going to account? Who are the 9 other players who are going to be on the field when we do it? I think that could have been one reason why they traded up to take Watkins, because when you have 4 solid receivers on your roster, you have C.J. Spiller in the backfield, that starts to spread some defenses out. So watch out for certain formations that the Bills start to play on offense, especially when Sammy Watkins is on the field, and see how some defenses react to that. So I think having Watkins was a solid addition, but for what they gave up for him in draft selections and whatnot, that's a different debate for a different day. Do we want to talk about record projection for the Bills, or do we want to do that at the end?
I don't know if we want to do that right now. Especially, I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you want to get into next? The Patriots or the Dolphins? You want to go with the Dolphins?
Yeah, we can go with the Dolphins.
Let's start off with the Dolphins. You're gonna give us the.
Or do we want to go down to the comment box really quickly and see if there's anyone talking about the Bills real quick?
Oh, you want FanDuel comment box? We got that.
FanDuel comment box.
We got J88. You're talking about record prediction. He said Bills would be like 5-11. So he doesn't believe in their offseason a little too much.
Ohio Pats fan says and asks, who would you guys compare Watkins to? Apparently he's been killing it in camp. Did you catch that one-handed catch he had the other day?
Yes, I did. Who do I want to compare him to? Ooh. I don't know. I don't think he's as fast. I know he's not as fast as Quick, but maybe Steve Smith, Carolina Panthers, and his, if he can come close, if he can become 90% of what he was in Carolina Panthers in his prime, you got yourselves a stud.
I don't know. I think I've never been one of those guys that likes to compare players because I feel as if every player is different. But
no, you're right. You're right about that. I like that, but the man's asking a question.
I know. If I had to answer it, because I've never done any comparisons, I'd say maybe Julio Jones. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, Julio's a big guy.
Is he?
Isn't Julio Jones?
Isn't Watkins 5'11" though?
Yeah, but isn't Julio Jones like 6'3"?
Yeah. See, I told you, I'm not good at comparisons.
I was like, Julio Jones. Maybe they're route running, and Julio Jones can take it deep. Obviously, he can stretch the field for you, and Sammy Watkins can do the same. So maybe in that sense they're comparable. But if you throw the ball up in the air, Julio Jones, 6'3", that height, he uses that to his advantage.
I'm just looking at some of these comments. Some of them are pretty funny.
I was going to say, people are missing the, Marvin McNutt. And I tell you this right now, I've been McNutting all summer long. All summer long. Have you been McNutting? Let me know in the comment box.
Marvin McNutt has become a staple on the show. We need to see if we can get him on.
Hey, J88 said, I tried to add McNutt on my fantasy football team, and he isn't there. What service are you using? Yahoo, ESPN, CBS? Which service does not have McNutt? And I'm going to have to send an email, okay? Because who you think, I'm a fantasy champ for a reason. I got to pick up studs like this in my team. So, Jay, let me know. I'll send the email.
He's a sleeper. I'm telling you, watch out. They don't have receivers over there. Marvin McNutt is going to have at least one catch this year.
He's going to have one. He's going to get his first career catch. 10 touchdowns, easy.
Oh, man. Really? Hey, McNutt's going to be McNutt.
He's going to be McNutting all over the cornerbacks.
Halo 2012 me says 8-8 for the Bills, I believe is what he's saying, because of the Watkins trade. Tyler Faudy says that the Bills gave up Steve Johnson, which was stupid. I don't think it was stupid. I think it was smart. I don't think they got a lot in return. It was a later round draft pick for Stevie Johnson. But he was an older receiver, and you're just bringing in so many more receivers. They trade for Mike Williams from Tampa Bay, Marquise Goodwin, Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins. This is a receiving corps. These guys, if they have the quarterback who can get them the ball, are going to be dangerous. I like what they have at the receiving position in Buffalo, but we can move on to the Dolphins now.
All right, before we get to the Dolphins, I got to read these McNutt comments. Solid Muffins, which is an awesome name, first of all. McNutt's on a daily, okay? Austin, I've been hard McNutting like hard. I don't know what that means. And 18 Lockhart, McNutting is my motto, and I live by it. There you go.
Hey, if Marvin McNutt gets like 2 or 3 touchdowns, we got to come up with a Twitter handle or a Twitter hashtag thing that just
You want to handle McNutt? That's what you just said?
no. We need to make McNutting like a national thing.
I think it already is. I think it's already.
Well, it's on the Red Zone Blitz,
I think it's a worldwide thing. People McNutt every day, baby. But let's move on to the Dolphins. Wouldn't be here today if it wasn't. All right, the draft picks for the Miami Dolphins, sir. You have it, right?
Draft picks, I got them right here. Jawan James, the offensive tackle, was the first-round pick for them.
Did he sign yet? I know he was supposed to be like the last one that signed his
sure.
deal. All right, go ahead.
Jarvis Landry, the wide receiver out of LSU. Billy Turner, the offensive tackle. Is it Akins? I think it's Akins, the cornerback in the 4th round. Arthur Lynch, the tight end in the 5th. And then a couple other guys at outside linebacker and wide receiver and defensive end. So pretty much the top 3. Jawan James, offensive tackle. Jarvis Landry, wide receiver. Billy Turner, offensive tackle. First 3 picks were offensive for the Miami Dolphins there. 2 offensive tackles. What was going on last year, Ezra, with the Bills?
Pressure.
And why was that?
Their offensive line was basura. That is the Spanish word of the day.
And where were they? They were in court. They were taking a hissy fit timeout. The circus was in Miami.
They were hitting each other. Bully, he hit me. Said something to me. That's what they were doing. Rich Cognito, idiot. We got a softie over there with Martin. Even though bullying is a real issue, but when you're 300 pounds and when you're friends with the dude, how about you tell him, hey, buddy, relax. Okay? Just saying. But the Dolphins' offensive line caused a lot of their trouble on the offensive side of the ball. But the way I look at it, it's not like their defense was hot, smoking. I know their offense did not help that defense, but it wasn't great. And Dion Jordan, the 4th overall pick 2 years ago, he's suspended for the first 4 games of this year, and it's not like he was lighting up the record books last year. I think he only had 2.5 sacks in 6 games played. Their defense does not impress me. Overall, they were 21st in the league, 16 against the pass, 24th against the run, and I don't know. The Dolphins, like you just said, all those draft picks, 2 out of 7 draft picks were on defense. 2 out of 7. But they did tackle and approach the offensive line. They revamped it. Is it going to be much better? Well, that remains to be seen because chemistry does play a huge part of the offensive line.
I don't know if they revamped the offensive line.
Well, they brought in a lot of pieces.
They definitely added it. They definitely added to it.
And Pouncey's out for mid-season. So mid-season, roughly.
Don't forget, Brandon Albert was the guy that they brought in through free agency. He's going to be playing left tackle. Right tackle is probably going to be Jawan James. Is it James? Jawan James? Jawan James. I think they have a problem at interior line. Like you said, Pouncey's going to be out with an injury. Their guard positions, I'm not sure what they're going to be doing. They don't have a lot of depth there right now. So I think if you're going to be concerned about their offensive line, it's got to be the guards and the center positions, not the tackles. I think the tackle positions are going to be fine. And then you want to address the wide receiver position. Mike Wallace on one side. You got Brian Hartline on the other. They add Jarvis Landry. They have Brandon Gibson, Rashard Matthews. Now, Matthews is a guy that it could be a candidate to get released or cut when it's all said and done. So watch out for that name. And then they have a couple other guys. Point is this. Is Tannehill a guy, Ryan Tannehill, that can break into the top 15 as a quarterback in this league?
I think he can if with the right team around him. I think he showed flashes of that he can, but they just putting too much pressure on his shoulders. I think it's a little too much, and I think it's just going to make him crumble. I'm not going to put the fault on him. I'm going to put the fault on the team and the team built around him. Mike Wallace, these pieces are just not – I like Mike Wallace, okay, but the pieces overall, the offensive line is just not where it needs to be at for a guy that you're relying on big time.
The thing is, I give Ryan Tannehill a lot of credit. because he, in college, only played the quarterback position for one full season at Texas A&M before he came into the NFL. That's saying something. And to be drafted in the top 10, I believe it was 8th overall by the Dolphins in the 2012 draft, that's saying a lot. You know, his overall touchdown to interception ratio, 36 touchdowns, 30 interceptions in his career. He's thrown for 7,200 yards. The sad thing about Ryan Tannehill is the average yards per pass, I think, is 6.7 yards. I think the average, like the Aaron Rodgers and the Drew Breeses, isn't it around 9 or 10 yards?
Yeah, but you're comparing him to the best. But 6 is pretty bad. Is really bad, yes.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a guy who's going to be a top 15 quarterback.
But that's not his fault. You know, when the pressure's on him, he's going to throw to the closest guy, which is 5 yards, 6 yards away from you. You know, he doesn't have time for the play to develop. He can't. His wide receivers can't get down the field before he gets smushed in the face. You know, I don't want to put it on him. I don't want to put it on him. I blame the front office. I think this guy could be good.
No, and I blame the front office more than anything, and the coaching staff, with everything that went on last year.
Like, does anybody blame David Carr for being David Carr, the way his career turned out?
He like sacked 1,000,000 times in his career?
I remember a commercial, like it was 2 years or a year after he was drafted. I don't know how many years, when they were, you know, it was on ESPN. It said, draft what your team needs. And they showed David Carr behind no line. It was no line. They put everything. I guess they photoshopped everyone invisible on his offensive line, and it says draft what you need. You know, no one blame. I don't certainly blame David Carr for the way his career turned out. And I'm looking at Ryan Tannehill like, bro, I don't think it's your fault, man. I don't think this is your fault, because I see flashes of him being good when he actually has time and he has some, you know, when the team actually performs around him.
Yeah, and statistically, he didn't do very, very bad last year either, and he improved. So I think he's an average quarterback right now. But with an offensive line that can protect him, like you're saying,
it's not only a line, you know.
Yeah, he needs a line. They didn't have one.
No, I know he needs a line, but I'm saying I think it's more than that. I think he needs a little bit more than just an offensive line. What about those running backs? Can you be a little bit more dynamic? Can the offensive scheme be a little bit more open, a little more, you know, I guess they can't be daring because of the offensive line. Maybe that playbook is being held back because of the offensive line, or maybe some of the weapons around him. That could be a potential, you know, situation and problem.
I just, you look at the running backs. They got Lamar Miller, Noshawn Moreno, Daniel Thomas.
They got some talent, you know, one of those guys, you know, Miller, isn't he a stud? When he gets some open space?
I don't know about Miller. If anything, you saw what Noshawn. I know Noshawn the first couple years in the league he didn't do very well. Last year, obviously, best year in his career. Can he repeat it?
Can he repeat
it's
that?
It's a different offense.
Can he repeat the pass protection? That's what. I think that's one of the main reasons they brought him in. Now pick up the blitz, because you're going to see a whole lot of that.
Defensively, did we talk about defense for the Dolphins?
Yeah, I feel like they didn't tackle the defense in the offseason at all. You know, like I said, overall they were 21st in the league. They had good numbers on, so they had 42 sacks last year, which was good for 11th in the league, and they had 18 interceptions. That was 10th in the league. You know, those guys made some stuff happen, but they gave up a lot of yards.
I don't know about this defense for the Dolphins. When you look at them on paper, everyone knows about Cameron Wake and everyone knows about Randy Starks. But I mean, then you get into guys like, you know, a Donnell Ellerbe and a Philip Wheeler who were brought in last year through free agency. You get into guys who are a little bit older, like a Brent Grimes and a Cortland Finnegan at cornerback. Lewis Dalmas at free safety. I mean, these are guys who have hopped from one team to the next in Finnegan, Dalmas, and Grimes. Is there a reason why they hopped over to the next team? I know Dalmas had a problem with was it a knee injury or something along those lines, and the Lions had to get rid of him.
It's not like they have a lot of young talent on the defensive side of the ball, and if they are, they're suspended. So they're really relying on this team just gelling with chemistry. That's it, because it's not like you're hoping these guys develop, because a lot of these guys are veteran guys and they already reached their peak. So,
I mean, I think they're hoping that a guy like Jamar Taylor or Will Davis steps up at corner, because Grimes and Finnegan, yes, they're veterans. They're guys who have played the position, but there's a reason why Finnegan's gone from the Titans to the Rams to the Dolphins. I mean, he's getting older. He's not playing like he used to. He's not as much of a troublemaker as he used to be. Grimes, I still see some potential in. So Delmas is a concern because of his injury history. But as a guy whose team is in the NFC North and Delmas playing for the Lions, I can vouch for Delmas. There were games where he played very, very well. There's potential there. It comes down to the durability. So that's what I'm concerned about with their secondary in Miami. Can their players stay durable and can they stay healthy? I think that's a question mark. That's something that you really need to kind of keep in the back of your mind if you're a Dolphins fan.
I think their offensive, before we move on, we get to the comments, their offense, they were ranked 27th overall. 20th. This is their, average, pass average. 20th in the league with 222. And the run, they were 26 with 90 yards a game. Okay? They're just in the bottom half and, the important offensive categories. So, I don't know. They're just relying a little too much on Ryan Tannehill. They got a lot of problems on this team, I think.
Well, let's head down to the FanDuel comment box really quickly here. See what you guys think about the Miami Dolphins. Solids Muffins thinks that Joe Philbin is a doofus. 18 Lockhart says that I know a lot of evaluators who said he played like a top 10 QB last year according to what they saw on tape. I don't agree with it, but at least there are people who have great faith in Ryan Tannehill.
Austin, any QB can be semi-good as long as they're not getting hit, as they throw 75% of the game.
18 Lockhart vouches for Grimes. He said he played great last year. Finnegan was the exact opposite. They better hope he isn't starting for them. I think Finnegan's lost a little bit, lost some gas in the tank.
Yeah, he's lost. Cortland's game was predicated on being physical, being nasty, getting into your head, and he's lost an extra step or two. That's why the Rams let him go. I'm not saying he's a bum now, but he's certainly, I don't know if you can really rely on him being your number 2 at this stage of his career.
James, we have talked about the Ray Rice suspension. That was actually in the beginning of the Red Zone Blitz tonight. So if you wanna just hit that rewind button, I think you'll be able to watch it. Otherwise, you'll just have to wait until the video's uploaded after the show.
Okay, Halo 2012, me, Dolphins 7-9 or 9-7. This is what before I meant 10-6 or 8-8 for the Bills. You're still not giving us a definite answer. Okay? Don't flip-flop it. Okay? I think that's about it. And we got Austin, who our only good linebacker they have is Ellerby, because I'm a Ravens fan and he hasn't produced for them like I thought he would. They have different schemes, and you don't have other great defensive play. The Ravens have a great defensive line. They have talent up there to make their linebackers do what they need to do, to give them the space. So next team, which was the draft pick? You want to talk about the?
Let's go with the Patriots. Let's save the Jets last for you.
Okay, the way go Patriots now.
Break down the Patriots draft selections. Now, Dominic Easley, the defensive end out of Florida, was a little bit of a surprise to go in the first round by the Patriots. But nonetheless, he went in the first. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, my guy, I'm telling you this right now.
Jimmy G!
Jimmy G, the quarterback out of Eastern Illinois, drafted in the second round by the Patriots. Could be the next big thing in New England once Tom Brady leaves. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy G, the quarterback in New England after Tom Brady. Brian Stork, the offensive center in the 4th round. James White, the running back in the 4th round. Cameron Fleming, the offensive tackle in the 4th round. And then they had a couple other guys at guard, defensive end, safety, and wide receiver. Jeremy Gallen at wide receiver getting a little bit of hype, I believe, so far in training camp as well, who was actually taken 244th overall. Now, overall, this draft class, where are the wide receivers other than Jeremy Gallen in the 7th round? You don't want to give Tom Brady any more weapons before it's his last hurrah. I found that to be a little bit questionable with some of the wide receiving talent that was available to them in this draft.
I understand your concern, but it doesn't bother me so much if I was a Patriots fan, because I know, once again, you're relying on health here, but if health is on your side this year, you're getting back Grunk and you're getting Amendola back. So you get and the development and the progression of Dawson. So I don't know, that's 3 guys. 3 new guys, potentially, in a sense. If those guys' health is on your side, and I'm just reading 18 Lockhart's comment, it threw me off. But yeah, it doesn't bother me so much they didn't go out there and get a wide receiver for Tom Brady.
Well, let's be real here for a second, because Amendola's always hurt. Danny Amendola can never, ever stay healthy, right? Would not even be surprised if they let him go. Hopefully Gronkowski's back. Hopefully he's healthy, but he's coming off of 4 or 5 surgeries. Kenbrell Tompkins, rookie last year, did decent. Julian Edelman had the season of his life last year because Tom Brady was throwing him the ball. And then there's Aaron Dobson. So, I mean, I really feel... Oh, and don't forget they also added Brandon LaFell, formerly of the Carolina Panthers, who left Marvin McNutt in Carolina. Now, I really feel like they could have added a wide receiver to this roster, a big play threat for Tom Brady to throw to, and I feel as if maybe Aaron Dobson was that guy from a season ago. But he really didn't pan out. Tompkins was another guy that, kind of came out of nowhere for them. Was he not an undrafted free agent?
Tompkins? I believe so.
Dobson, 2nd rounder. Tompkins, undrafted, yeah. So, 4 touchdowns, 466 yards, and 32 receptions for Tompkins. Dobson, 4 touchdowns, 519 yards on 37 receptions. They both did decent as rookies. Hopefully, I think what they're planning on is developing these 2 guys even further with Tom Brady, and that's why they didn't address a wide receiver. But I didn't see a lot from those 2 that made me really say, wow. I think Tompkins had a couple of really astonishing catches for touchdowns. I think against the Falcons, there was one week a couple, earlier on in the season, but I don't know.
Hey, Tom Brady has one with less, okay? And 2, when the Patriots, are their best, is when there's their defense that is their best. And last year they were ranked 26 on defense. So that's why they tackled the defensive side of the ball with who? Darrelle Revis, Browner, Easley, Will Smith. They bulked up on their secondary, their cornerbacks mainly, and their defensive line, their front. And that's what Bill Belichick, wants to employ, his defense. This because he knows the offense is going to get their points. He knows Tom Brady can put up 20-something points a game. It's the defense that he needs to focus on and improve on this team. They were ranked 7th overall in offense. And I don't think they had... The only thing that bothers me, their running back position is not as deep as it was last year, but it's still pretty good with Ridley and Vereen, right? That's Vereen. I think that's his name. So I don't think he worries about offense. It's the defense, and that's what, if you're a Patriots fan, should be concerned about, is that defense improving, and they made some moves for that.
Think about their secondary. Three big names they brought to the secondary. I'd say 2 and 1 decent one. Darrelle Revis.
Best in the NFL.
Okay. Darrelle Revis.
Best in the NFL.
Patrick Chung.
Ooh, he's old.
Who's now a Patriot yet again, and Brandon Browner, who will also be serving a 4-game suspension to start out the season. I like what they did in the secondary. I like what they did to add to their depth chart. They also added Will Smith, formerly of the Saints, at linebacker. I think defensively, with younger guys like Donta Hightower, Jared Mayo, Chandler Jones, with the mix of some of these veteran guys, I think this defense, what'd you say they were ranked last year?
26.
There's no way. There's no way they're going to be ranked 26th again. Vince Wilfork coming back healthy, there's no way they're going to be 26. I'd say they're top 15 easily for the Patriots. And you add a Tom Brady, as long as that offense is clicking, I think this is a team that wins the division.
You think?
I know everyone thinks that, but you really never know before you go into the season.
True.
We've seen surprises. But yeah, I like their defense and Jamie Collins. Talk about hitting on a draft selection. Last year they didn't draft in the first round. Their first draft pick was Jamie Collins, the outside linebacker out of Southern Mississippi, or the 52nd overall pick. He had 43 combined tackles as a rookie, but I mean, let's read off his stat line here. There's 43 combined tackles, 1 fumble recovery, 4 passes deflected. He stepped up as a rookie. He was a guy that played in 16 games, had 16 appearances for the Patriots. You're talking about 16 appearances as a rookie under Bill Belichick. That's saying something. He's going to get more playing time this year, alongside of Jared Mayo and Dante Hightower. I like what they have. I'm digging what they did in free agency. I like what they did for the most part in the draft. I'm saying the defensive unit is going to be top 15 for sure this year for the Patriots. Mark it down. Write it down. We need somebody who's been keeping track of all these predictions, because I've lost track of them.
Hey, my biggest thing, the biggest improvement the Patriots need to work on is their rush defense. They were ranked 30th last year. Okay, so like I said, they try to they add some pieces to the front, and hopefully that pays some dividends. And I heard, Spikes was causing trouble in that locker room. Maybe that caused some chemistry issues. I don't know. And maybe that headache is gone. And, that alone will only help the defense. So, once again, the Patriots are going to be very scary this upcoming year. So, you want to get in the comment box? FanDuel comment box, sir?
FanDuel comment box, and then we'll get to your Jets.
FanDuel comment box. Oh, we got who will be Brady's #1 receiver but Gronk? Who do you think, David?
Well,
You going to Edelman again? Are you terms of receptions or
yards? Or touchdowns?
How about we give them both? Receptions, I think we can go with Julian Edelman again. I think pretty easy. He's their security blanket. He's just right there.
Man.
He's their.
I mean, if you're excluding Gronkowski, you really have Tompkins, Dobson, and
Amendola.
No, Amendola's gonna get hurt in week 3. He's gonna break a toe or something. I'm gonna say Dobson.
I'm also going to go with Dobson in terms of yards.
I'm going to say Dobson breaks out. Either him or Tompkins. One of the 2 rookies from last year. But I say Dobson because he was the guy that they took in the 2nd round. They were more confident in selecting him rather than Tompkins, who was undrafted. I'm going to say Dobson. I'm going to say he breaks out, has a good sophomore year for the Patriots.
Okay, what other comments we got? We have Ravens 27-21. Pats have the best QBs in the NFL. I imagine he's talking about the 2 starting cornerbacks. Man, I think Seahawks may have something to say about that. Maybe the Cardinals may have something about that. The Browns potentially. Depending on how Justin Gilbert plays this year, has something to say about that. We got John Lowe. Patriots defense for this upcoming season is easily top 5 on paper now. I don't know about all that. It will be interesting to see if they can gel together and become a feared unit. I don't know about easily top 5 paper, but they improved big time.
According to Ohio Pats fan, Dobson has not participated at camp and he is rehabbing, while Tompkins has been a star at camp so far. Edelman had his first healthy season last year, and Amendola is always hurt. The receiving core could go south really quickly. Well,
Ohio Pats fan. Also, Wilford and Tommy Kelly are back. Esley will help as well, but those two alone will help the run D. Everybody has health concerns. We got Gronk will snap again, and we'll have to find a new skinny white kid to throw to.
it's Edelman.
J88. Write it down. Week 3, broken toe for Danny A. So we got a lot of health issues over here and stuff like that. And J88 also wrote Edelman is hurt a ton too. So there you go.
Well, we've gone to the segment. We've gotten to the point in the show where Ezra gets to talk about his New York Jets.
Oh, yes. My Jets. And it's not like I was screaming in enjoyment of my offseason of the Jets. But it is what it is. As a fan, I will be hopeful and excited either way. But run off the draft picks for us, David.
Alrighty. Jets, first round, Calvin Pryor, safety out of Louisville.
Woo!
Jason Morrow, tight end out of, was it Texas Tech, I believe?
Oh, yeah.
Dexter McDougal, cornerback. Jalen Saunders in the 4th round at wide receiver. Shaquille Evans, wide receiver in the 4th round. Dakota Dozier, offensive tackle out of Furman in the 4th round. And then there was a whole laundry list of guys. Notable names being Taj Boyd in the 6th round at quarterback.
Best draft in the NFL. Easy. 4 Pro Bowlers. Easy.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Oh, Rex Ryan does it again.
Uh-oh.
But, yeah, I'll let you start off, David. What do you have any?
Let's talk about draft picks since I read them off. I really wanted Calvin Pryor as a thumper, as a guy who comes in, plays in the box as a strong safety for my Green Bay Packers. Him or Clinton Dix. We got Clinton Dix. I was fine because Calvin Pryor was gone by then. Calvin Pryor, I love him. I really like him. I think that was a great draft pick for the Jets, and he fits that mentality, that physicality that Rex Ryan likes to have on the defense. Jason Morrow, the tight end in the 2nd round out of Texas Tech, another guy I wanted my Packers to pick because I felt as if we needed help at the tight end position. But Jason Morrow, in my opinion, if you wanted to play it conservatively, if you wanted to take a guy who is going to help you in the pass game, in the blocking game, in run support, Jason Morrow was your guy over Eric Ebron, who went 10th overall to the Lions. I like that pick as well. Then you have Dex McDougal, Jalen Saunders, and Shaquille Evans, 2 wide receivers in the 4th rounds, could help the depth there on offense with the inclusion of Eric Decker. So, Chris Johnson at running back as well. Overall, they added to that offense, Ezra. They have Mike Vick. They have Chris Johnson. They have Eric Decker. They have all these draft selections. It's looking up for the Jets. As long as Geno Smith is not starting at quarterback. That's all I got to say.
And I told you before the show about all the reports here in New York City, all the tabloids and all that stuff, and the reports are that Geno Smith, it's his job to lose. Michael Vick has come out plenty of times saying, hey, they've given 70 to 80% of the first-team reps to Geno Smith. This is his job, you know. But I knew the situation coming into here that I was going to be a mentor, blah, 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 blah. So all indications, the way I'm reading is Geno Smith, it's his job to lose big time. Like, he has to bomb training camp and really bomb preseason for Michael Vick to be the starter. And I'm with you. I would like to see Michael Vick as the starter heading into the year. And what I would really love to see is Geno Smith, you know, improve tenfold. But I guess I won't see that until preseason or what, because now he'll have some weapons around him. I don't want to kill him too much because he didn't have what he was going to have this coming up year. But the big question is chemistry, and you're hoping a lot. You know, besides Eric Decker, you're still relying on Hill, you know, our third-year wide receiver, to really find his footing, find his niche in the NFL, be that guy that we drafted him for. And we got Curley coming back, who was our leading receiver after, what, 6 games last year, and he ended up still being our leading receiver at the end of the year. And he missed 10 games. So, man, it's just as a Jets fan, it's tough to talk about because you're just hoping. Pressure getting to the quarterback. The Jets were ranked 13th with 41 sacks. That's what Calvin Pace coming out of nowhere and getting 10 sacks. He's another year older, and prior to last year, all his sack numbers was going down. I'm worried about getting pressure on the quarterback once again. Now we have to rely on and hope, once again, hope. That's the key word for my Jets. Hope is that Quentin Coples develops into that pass rusher that we drafted him for, or someone else steps up. We got to hope Calvin Pryor really steps up and be that playmaker in the secondary, in the safety position, something that the Jets haven't had since Kerry Rhodes, and that was, 4 or 5 years ago. He's probably our best safety since then, and that's a rookie, and I haven't even seen him play yet.
Here's the thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I was going to say, there's a question of who's going to be the second cornerback. D. Milliner, I know he was crap for a lot of games last year, but the last 3-4 games he stepped it up, and I'm really kind of comfortable that he's our number one heading into this year. I don't know why, but I'm comfortable. But who's our second guy? Is it going to be McDougal? Is it going to be one of the draft picks? Who's going to step up as the second guy? And, the Jets' pass defense ranks 22nd, and I haven't seen much improvement besides, Calvin Pryor. I don't know, man. It's just a lot. We got to hope for a lot of stuff. That's what bothers me.
Well, if I was a Jets fan, I would be hoping and praying that they start Michael Vick over Geno Smith, because Vick, even though he's older, I still feel like if he does not commit turnovers and he does not get hurt, and those are two big ifs, he can still produce at the NFL level. You add Chris Johnson into that backfield, maybe start doing a little bit something that you're not very used to in New York, playing a more faster-paced style of offense with a fast running, a running style quarterback in Vic, a very fast running back in Chris Johnson. You add all these weapons at wide receiver. I think they reinforce the offensive line through the draft and free agency. They add the tight end position in Jason Morrow. They really did it all on the offensive side of the ball through both the draft and free agency. I like what they did. Pray for Vic. You don't want Geno to start. You want Geno to start.
I want Geno to improve. It's not that I don't want him to start.
Okay,
I'm not a Geno hater. I want him to improve immensely. Yes.
And I would want it as any team. If you have a young quarterback, of course you want him to improve. But the thing is, you throw him into the fire with all these new weapons and everything, and he doesn't succeed. What happens when you give him 4 or 5 starts and your team is sitting at 1-4? Do you just pull him back, sit him on the bench, and put Vic in, or do you give the ball to Vic, let him start?
I don't care if we're 3-1. If Geno Smith is not carrying his weight, if he's not really, helping the team win. Even if we have won those games, I want Michael Vick in. I don't want to see – and I think Rex Ryan might have a quick trigger this year. I'm not sure. Like I said, I think he has that type of Marvin Lewis, Mike Brown relationship. No matter if he makes the playoffs or not, he'll keep his job. Or is it really the pressure's on him? If the pressure's really on him to make the playoffs this year, there's got to be a short leash on Geno Smith. I would imagine, right? But it all depends on what their communication and what the pressure is really from the ownership.
I think last year I was not backing Geno Smith, but I was saying give him a chance to see if he can produce for you. Because he's a young guy and he's a guy that, needs as much experience, as much reps as he can get. But when you're in the Jets' shoes and you have Michael Vick for 1 season, and I feel that Vick is better than Geno Smith, let Geno sit behind Vick. Let Geno learn as much as he can from Vic through the experience that he's had, and then play him next year. Because I'm going with the guy that gives me the best chance to win, and I feel Vic has a better chance than Geno.
I totally agree with you. Hey, you heard me. I said it times here before. If Johnny Football was there when she was, and if I was the GM, I would have took Johnny Football in the first round if I was the Jets. I'm not that much of a believer. I told you, I want the Jets to draft a quarterback, to go after a quarterback. I am not that much of a believer in Geno. But as a fan, I have to have that faith and hope that he improves. And for his sake, for his career, I hope that. Like I said, personally, I don't know the man, so I don't hate on the man. But what I saw on the field last year, okay, it felt like I was watching the Black Mark Sanchez. Plain and simple. If you want me to say that, that's what it is. He had, 25 interceptions with like 12 touchdowns? It was disgusting. But then again, it's not all his fault. They had no weapons around him. So, and I think that the running game is going to be essential to our offense once again. We were third in the league in running. And this time we added Chris Johnson to the fold and, some quote-unquote weapons on the outside. So that will only help our running game. And I think that's what the offense is going to be again, is the running game. But like you said, I would like to see Vic. If you're asking me right now who's my starter tomorrow, that's Michael Vick.
One note on Calvin Pryor, a lot of guys down in the comment box are saying that he had a concussion yesterday, and I don't think he practiced today. Nick Ray asks, Calvin Pryor just had a concussion yesterday. Do you feel his physical style will lead to him possibly missing some games here and there and possibly in an early retirement for Calvin Pryor with his physicality?
I think, with the Troy Palomalus, the Landrys, and stuff like that, they've been mostly healthy throughout their career. So I'm not too worried right now about all that for Calvin Pryor because there's been other guys in the league that been playing for a lot of years and been healthy for most of it.
I think most of the time anyway, when you have these hard-hitting players, they lie about their concussions, and it's getting harder to do. It really is. But there's so many players that have lost count of the amount of concussions that they've had because they want to stay in. They don't want to lose any playing time. They don't want to have that guy who steps up behind them and takes their job. So, there's going to be guys who lie about that kind of thing. But as for Calvin Pryor's physicality and his style of play, there's no doubt about it. He's going to hurt himself at the NFL level. He's going to go in like a Brandon Merriweather one of these times and hurt himself with a concussion. So, I don't know how it happened yesterday, but it happened, and, hopefully he recovers because I really want to see him play in that Rex Ryan defense. And one of the guys next to him, D. Milner, your buddy Ezra, comes out and says that he's going to be the #1 cornerback in the NFL. Came out with a recent statement. Any thoughts on that?
I said it before, and I hope Rex Ryan gets into it because I miss Rex Ryan talking smack. It doesn't really bother me, if a guy thinks he's the best and the defense is going to be the best, we are the best, and stuff. You know what? You got to go out there and prove it. Plain and simple. As a fan, it sounds stupid to me. Even as a fan, yeah, D. Miller, you're not the best. We know this. You're not even a top 10 cornerback. I don't even know if you're a top 15 cornerback today. Calvin Pace, you're a couple games away from being cut. His job is not even guaranteed. I know you had a nice little bounce-back season last year, but relax, buddy. And this defense, that secondary, you don't know where in hell we're near the best defense in the NFL. That's got to be that secondary's got to be shore up. But it doesn't bother me overall. I want Rex Ryan to talk smack, not my guys so much. But overall, it doesn't really bother me, even though they sound stupid, and I know they sound stupid.
I'm looking at the FanDuel comment box for the Jets. There's a question about the addition of Jason Babin. If that's going to have any sort of impact on the defense.
I hope so.
Obviously, you're the Jets guy, so, is there anything that you think is going to where is he even going to be placed? Because the Jets play 3-4. Babin is a 4-3 guy. Is he an outside linebacker, or is he a defensive end in that 3-4 defense?
I would imagine he's going to play a little of both. Because you already got Wilkerson, you got Sheldon Richardson. Well, Sheldon Richardson's a D tackle, and plays a little bit of DN also. I think he's going to play a little of both. And the thing about Babin, anytime it's been like he's fighting for a contract, he's played well. So that's what I think I got to hope for. I know he signed a 2-year deal, but hopefully he plays well because he wants to sign another big deal, and hopefully it's not with my Jets. But I'm not very excited about him anyway because there's been a lot of times when he got his money, this guy he's lost. He's nowhere to be found. Okay? He's McNutting somewhere else. So I'm not that overly excited, but there's potential there. But like I said, I'm hoping. There's potential everywhere. I'm hoping Chris Johnson provides some of that spark. He has an offensive line. There's no excuse of him, fulfilling his potential, his 2,000 yards and all that crap he thinks he's going to do. But, I'm just a sad, defeated Jets fan. What do you want me to tell you, David? It hurts.
Everyone likes to talk about how their team looks like on paper before the season starts and how this player's going to do that. And, if we don't get injuries, if our team doesn't get plagued by injuries, we're going to the Super Bowl. And I do it. I do it all the time. I say, oh, well, last year it was Aaron Rodgers who went down for half the season. We still made it to the playoffs, but we lost. Just wait for this year. I'm telling you, as long as we stay healthy, this is what's going to happen.
My thing
Everyone does it.
My week, if everybody talks to the secondary and the offensive side of the ball. If you ask me what's the weakest, part of the Jets, I would say linebackers. Even though David Harris is a really good one, besides him, it's just weak everywhere else, man. Our linebackers really, to me, is our weakest part of the team right now. And if you see those holes on the other side of the field, and I think the linebackers are the worst, that should tell you an indication of where the Jets, kind of stand.
And that's coming from a Jets fan, so. And we're taking a look at the FanDuel comment box right now. Some of you guys are asking about other teams and other divisions. What we're doing today is we're just breaking down the AFC East, and we're going to go, hopefully in the next couple of Red Zone Blitzes, we'll break down one or two more divisions in each Red Zone Blitz. I think we were planning on also doing the NFC East tonight, but we kept it to the AFC East. Hopefully next episode, next week, we can start off with the NFC East or whichever other division that we want to add to it. Looking at the comment box, here's a good question. 18 Lockhart asks, Manziel in New York, it's bad enough with the coverage he gets in Cleveland. Imagine how it would have been with the New York media market.
Yeah, I know it would have been disgusting, but I say this. No matter what, it could be Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, or any player you're tired of seeing of, when you see him, change the channel. Because the only reason these guys get so much coverage is because so many people love them, and it just draws ratings. So
yeah, it's like the reality TV shows. Like it's bad, but you can't stop watching it.
I don't watch it. I never watched it. I don't care for that. I don't watch ESPN. I get most of my information is from Twitter. To me, Twitter has decreased my ESPN viewership about 95%, or any sports channel. I'm serious. Like I get all this news and all this information from Twitter.
And Twitter, usually you find out about something the second it happens.
Yep.
So yeah, Twitter's really nice when it comes to that kind of stuff, depending on who you follow. I'm not seeing too many more comments trickling into the FanDuel comment box.
I see a lot. I see people are laughing about my Jets talking smack, which is, I agree. John Lowe, laugh out loud. Dean Miller saying he's number 1. Cornerback, Gino saying he's going to be a top 5. Calvin Pace saying the Jets defense is best. Vikings, FLB. Pryor posted on his Instagram saying he is fine and did not have a concussion. Okay. Austin, hopefully that concussion won't keep Pryor out too long. Milliner being the best in the NFL. That's the funniest thing I think I've ever heard. Solid Muffins, Gino. 8 games of a passing rating less than 15. Wow. I agree with David. We got a lot of comments. Jets Halo 2012. Jets secondary is not good at all. Sorry to JTS fans. And who is the number 2 cornerback? That's not even clear cut, but I'm hearing McDougal or a guy we signed, Patterson, will be our second cornerback. But that's not definite yet. DJ, Bills fan, I'm not scared of the Jets at all. Bring it on. Go Bills. There you go.
I'm with J88 on this one. Geno and McNutt equals Super Bowl. I think that's a key piece that the Jets have been missing, man. I think they got to go trade a draft pick for Marvin McNutt.
And Nick is asking, Darrell Ruby said his first choice of this offseason was the New York Jets. Yes, I wanted him back. Still got his jersey. He's the best cornerback in the NFL. Yes, I wanted Darrell Reeves back.
You're going to need some help at outside linebacker. I think that's why they bring in Babin. I mean, Vikings FLB says Pace won't be as good, won't have a good season. He'll most likely get cut. Babin will hopefully step up and become an above-average pass rusher with Copels. Yeah, and Copels hasn't been really a guy who's panned out. And they've gone defensive line or defensive end / outside linebacker the last couple of drafts. In Copels and Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson, these guys are all on the defensive front. I think Wilkerson has been solid. Richardson definitely panned out last year.
Let's not say where Wilkerson's been solid. He's a stud. He's up there.
He's been solid. That's what I mean. He's been solid.
That's a top 5 guy, okay?
At his position?
Yes. Must be eating cheesecake because I don't know what you talking about. Top 5 guy.
Let me take a look at his stat line. Let's take a look at Muhammad Wilkerson because I know he was producing last year.
Well, his stats are not going to stand out, but
I know, but I just want to see how he's done.
Yes, sir.
How many seasons? 3 seasons as a Jet. He's averaging 60 tackles a season. Dang. Last year was his breakout year, though. 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, an interception, 3 passes deflected. Okay, I'll say he was better than solid last year. He was better than solid.
Yeah, that's from a 3-4 defensive end.
Yeah, you're correct. He was better than solid.
Guy's a stud, man. And he's gonna get some. He's gonna get some money after this year too. I think he's gonna wait for J.J. Watt to sign his deal. Then were they drafted in the same year? Possibly, but he's gonna get paid.
If you're asking about the number 2 guy at the cornerback position for the Jets, that's probably going to be Dimitri Patterson.
Yeah, so I said Patterson. Yep, he's probably the number 2 guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But he's like a veteran. He's never been. Oh, John Lowe. Here we go. We got some questions now. John Lowe. Ezra, can you give the boot to Marshawn Lynch and Vernon Davis? They need to honor their contracts. They signed it for a reason, and they are still making millions of dollars a year. John Lowe, I cannot
give him the boot.
I can't give him the boot for that.
No.
Do NFL teams honor their contracts? They signed the same contract.
Okay. Well, we can talk about this right now. I know it's not the AFC East, but
no,
we can
talk about off-season stuff. We can still talk about off-season stuff.
That's fine. Yeah. No, that's fine. It's in the title. It's in the title of the video. Let's talk Marshawn Lynch here. This guy, let me pull his age up. How old is Marshawn Lynch?
He's trying to get paid right now. That's what he needs to do.
Fine, and I think everybody else is trying to get paid too. And the Seahawks are one of those teams with their GM who it's ran very much like a business. And if he wants to hold out at the age of 28, he's not going to get paid because Christian Michael, the running back on the roster right now, who they drafted last year in the 2nd round, is going to be a stud.
You know what?
He's going to take the ball. He's going to take his job. They're going to cut or trade Lynch because they're not going to pay him the $8, $9, $10 million or whatever it is he wants a year. He's not going to get it.
But I'm saying, if you're Lynch, you want the money. You say, hey, I already won my championship. Trade me then. Either way, he'll win if that's the case. And you're right. The Seahawks don't really need him now, even though he's been a beast for them. He's been very consistent. He's been, he's Skittles. He's a monster. He's been very, very good for them, and I understand why he wants his money. But I also understand the Seahawks don't need to pay him because they have huge depth at the running back position. So, yeah.
Yeah, you give him a 4, 5, 6-year contract, whatever it's going to be, at the running back position at the age of 28, you can't afford to do that. You really, really can't afford to do that.
While you're looking up the stats, I want to ask a question. Because this was, hot news a couple weeks ago. How do you guys feel? I know it's past that now. When Jimmy Graham lost his arbitration case, that he was still recognized as a tight end. I wonder what everybody else thinks in the comment box and what you think, David, because man, I think he got slighted. Even though he got paid.
He called himself a tight end on Twitter.
That doesn't matter.
That matters. He's calling himself a tight end. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
He lined up as a wide receiver more than 65% of the time.
He called himself a tight end on Twitter.
Man.
It's like you're saying, aren't you half Puerto Rican, Ezra?
Yes, I am half Puerto Rican. Okay.
Okay. So you're Puerto Rican 100% of the time, right?
No, I'm half Dominican also.
Or you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're half Puerto Rican. You're half Puerto Rican 100% of the time.
Half Dominican, yes. Latin heat, baby. Latin heat.
So you're saying you're Latin heat 100% of the time, okay? But then you want to go and make an argument that you're some sort of other race so that you get paid more money. I don't know what I'm saying.
That was bad. That doesn't.
Hey, you know what? I might deserve the boot for that one.
Yeah, you deserve. I'm never gonna give it to you. You recognize that was stupid, but that's okay. I'm just saying, you do something 60% of the time of that was your original job title. If I'm
no. That's where they lined him up. That's what they want him to do within the offense. And you spread them out because of Drew Brees' talent. You spread them out because of Jimmy Graham's talent.
But that's going to be an issue in the next CBA. I'm letting you know that now. There's going to be something about they might change it to catch passers or whatever the hell. They might do something.
Did you see what's his name? Is it Cameron Jordan? Jordan Cameron. There's two players in the NFL with interchangeable names.
Yep.
He changed his on Twitter to NFL pass catcher.
Jordan Cameron.
Jordan Cameron. So that was smart on his part because he doesn't know if he's going to break out. He had a good season last year, so that was smart on his behalf. But I don't think he got slighted.
Arbitration, you don't think he got slighted? Okay, hey, that's your opinion. No. Yeah, I'm biased. I'm always for the player first. Okay.
I understand the owners and the the people.
I understand why they fought him on it.
But they're still getting paid. They are getting millions of dollars already as it is. They're already getting paid.
Hey, there's a big There's a $5 million difference. Okay.
You're still getting paid millions of dollars. I mean, how much more of a difference?
Oh, come on, I'm always for the players, man. 60% of the time, 65% of the time, you're doing another job. You should be paid that job. Plain and simple. I don't care where you work at. You could be an accountant. You can be anything. If you do something else that's not in your job description, even though, it is somewhat in this job description, if you do something else, 65% of the time, you should be paid. I don't care what sport, what job you do.
That's fine. I mean, okay, if you're a manager at McDonald's and you're an employee at McDonald's, I've seen managers and employees come up to the cash register and ring you up. They both did the same exact thing.
If I work at McDonald's, if I got hired to be a cashier and I'm getting paid $8 an hour and I'm doing the manager's job 3 days out of the week and he gets paid $20 an hour, I would be like, dude, why am I doing the manager's job and I'm getting paid $8? I'm a manager if I'm doing it 3 days out of the week. I'm just saying, even though it's a far difference between the two, I'm just saying, if I do another job, I should be paid it.
I don't know. I mean, the receiver and the receiver and the tight end, very similar roles within an offense, usually with them pass catching. Tight ends, slightly bigger build, will be more. They need to at times block, and receivers don't need to block as much. They have different roles, but at the same time,
I'm going to read some of the guys' comments in here, and this one bothers me. Austin says, Jimmy Graham was drafted as a tight end and goes to Pro Bowls as a tight end, which is true. You can't switch your position just for more money, but he didn't switch his position. It's the coach that tells him line up at wide receiver. It's not Jimmy Graham saying, hey, I got stats like a wide receiver, pay me like one. Is, dude, the coach tells me to line up as a wide receiver. So let's not act like Jimmy Graham is just all of a sudden saying, hey, I'm a wide receiver. No, he's doing that. But a lot of people agree with you. John Lowe, Jimmy Graham is a tight end. He was drafted as a tight end. He makes Pro Bowls, All-Pro at tight end. He said he was a tight end on Twitter. You just can't claim you are a wide receiver when it comes to payday when you've been a tight end from the beginning. Okay? Jimmy Graham was, Seth writes, Jimmy Graham was drafted as a tight end. He calls himself an All-Pro tight end in the press conference a couple days ago. Such. I understand that. Okay, let me give you an example. If Tim Tebow was drafted as a quarterback, right? And if another team made him into a running back like a lot of teams wanted to, or a tight end, should he be paid like a quarterback if he was successful? Answer me that, guys. If Tim Tebow was drafted as a quarterback, which he was, and he changed his position for another team, should he be paid like a quarterback? All you guys say, hell no. Exactly.
No.
Exactly. And if this Twitter said, I am a quarterback, but my team's got me playing black running back, would that help his case? No. Exactly.
Because the positions are too close to each other.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Quarterback is different.
He was drafted as a quarterback. He was drafted. If that's the argument people are going to throw at me, hey, that Tim Tebow, if he comes back as a running back, I'm going to be like, hey, dude was drafted as a quarterback. I don't care what he does on the field. Anyway, I just want to hear you guys' thoughts. No one agrees with me. I'm an asshole.
The show is coming to an end. We got a couple minutes left, so we got to pick our MVP of the night, Ezra, before we hop off here. There's a lot of good, solid candidates that came out tonight, man. We had Austin, Blazek, Solid Muffins, 18 Lockhart, John Lowe, Nick Ray,
J88.
Yeah,
man.
And then Vikings FLB came out a little bit. I don't know who I'd give it to though. I haven't seen this name before. I think I might give it to him.
You going with
I haven't seen this. No, I think I'm gonna go with Austin Blazek.
Man, there's some good ones out there. Like Ohio Pats fan. Some good questions, but not a lot of stuff. Not a lot of, not too much he gave tonight in the comment box. But when he did, it was powerful stuff. And like I said, I'm always quality over quantity. But when you do a little of both, that's what I really like. John Lowe, he was there. He's right there. He's right near up there. 18 Lockhart, you know how it is. Future Hall of Fame, Red Zone Blitz commentator. He always brings it. I'm going to go with Solid Muffins, though, because, one, he has an awesome name, and he was in the comment box. He gave his opinions. I'm going to go with Solid Muffins. He was my MVP.
Yeah. I don't know. I think John Lowe deserves something.
And I might just go eat a muffin, too.
I'm hungry. I need some dinner.
Some muffins.
I
hate chocolate.
I sacrificed dinner tonight for the Red Zone Blitz, so I got to go do that after the show.
I sacrificed McNutting for the Red Zone Blitz, so please.
Oh, man. Oh, my
All right?
goodness.
I've sacrificed.
Jeez. So that is the Red Zone Blitz for tonight. Next week, Ezra, check the calendar.
Oh, wait.
Check the calendar because next week it's Sunday or Monday. I can do it, but I think Sunday night or Monday night I'll be able to. But I'm going to be in Texas for about 9-10 days. I'm going to go see. Woo! I'm going to go. Hey, guess where I'm going, Ezra? I'm going to AT&T Stadium. Old Dallas Cowboys. Check their tour out. So.
I'm available next Monday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, kid. I'm available. Yeah.
We'll have to figure out which division we're going to break down. We'll post that to Facebook and Twitter. As you guys see down here, Facebook, Twitter, check us out. That's where you can follow us, like us, see what we're up to, constant updates constant information being relayed to you guys, cuts, signings, trades, anything you need to know about the Red Zone Blitz, Wake Up It's Football, articles, videos, all that good stuff. And Ezra, of course, you can check him out when he speaks here, so you can.
Okay. I didn't know you gave me the leeway at Idiot Sports Talk on Twitter and Idiot Sports Talk on YouTube, which I will be pumping out videos soon all over again, talking NBA, NFL, and maybe some MMA, because I do enjoy MMA. And it was a beautiful NBA offseason, man. It was cool, man. LeBron's back home. Oh, LeBron's back home. Really don't care for that, but it was just an exciting NBA offseason.
So yeah, if you guys are obviously interested in more sports, basketball, baseball, MMA, all that good stuff, Ezra's got that.
Ezra hates baseball. Ezra gave up on baseball.
What?
Sorry, guys.
Not baseball. No baseball on Ezra's Idiot Sports Talk channel.
Basura!
But that is the Red Zone Blitz for you guys tonight. July 28th, 2014, we had a Red Zone Blitz with Dave from Wake Up It's Football and Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk. We will be back with you guys next week for another division or two that we'll end up breaking down. And the season is right around the corner. Preseason starts very soon. Keep your eyes and ears open. And that's a wrap on tonight. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. And that's all we got for you guys tonight. And we're out.
Later.